Hey everyone, how are you? I just wanted to do a quick video. Just got back, was running out doing errands, and ended up going to the beach before I came back to the house. So I was just walking on the beach, me and my fiance, down there kind of relaxing, getting a walk in. And, this has happened like many times before, but I haven't actually brought it up. I don't know why. I guess I was just still thinking about it. But, it's the beach, right? It's Jack's Beach. So people are wearing, what you would expect them to wear, which is culturally normal. It's what everyone wears to the beach, I guess. But it's always bothered me. You know, not, I won't say always, ever since, I kind of woke up. It's bothered me. And it's been in the back of my mind. I've seen it multiple times. And, you look, right? So you're looking at, it's the beach. I mean, I'm looking ahead. I'm trying to walk. And you walk, and everyone's basically just walking around in panties and a bra. Is essentially what that is. It's beach attire. Not much clothing there at all. So, a few ounces of clothing at most. It's essentially just, I don't know, probably what you wear to bed, I guess. I don't know. But, like I said, it's always bothered me. And it's just been like building up and building up. And today, it just clicked. I was like, oh, this is wrong. Which is strange because I live in America, and it kind of ties back, to everything you see back there, right? Like pride and lust and envy. I mean, that's essentially what we're doing. And guys aren't exempt from this, right? It's the same thing. I see them out there walking around. I've been guilty of this myself, right? You're out there, you're at the gym, you're all pumped up, you got your shirt off, you're walking down the beach, looking all buff and stuff. And it's the same thing, right? It's our pride, right? And how do you offset that? Humility, right? That's what it says there. And yeah, we can go through Bible verses if you want. I'll pull up a few, but just to kind of lay the groundwork, like that's what it is. And it took me a while to kind of get frustrated enough to figure that out. That's what it is. It's like if I went down to a grocery store and I was walking around in the grocery store, I wouldn't expect to see a female. I'll just say female. It could be male or female, right? Just put in whatever, pick the opposite sex and put that in your scenario. So I walk into the grocery store, going to the produce department with my cart. I don't expect to see a girl, attractive or not. It doesn't matter what you consider attractive, walking around in panties and a bra. I just don't expect to see it. And sorry about that term. I know that upsets some people. Underwear. Sorry, underwear. So I wouldn't expect to see a girl, or a guy in your scenario walking around in underwear with a bra on, or a dude with just no shirt on, just walking down, picking up produce, getting things. I mean, you would consider that odd, right? You would give a double take. You'd probably like have people like, hooting and hollering, and guys making comments, girls making comments, whatever. But I mean, biblically, as far as God goes, it's wrong, and I know because I feel it. You know, as Christ, like, I don't want to sit here and gloat about it. Like I said, I made plenty of mistakes, and I talk about those, and I tell you about those, and some of these I've made probably this week. Especially when it comes to like humility, and being prideful, like working out, tight-fitting shirts, stuff like that. Lust, not terrible, but chastity, offsetting that, and then envy. So essentially, what you're doing, right? You're proud, you're looking good, you're in Publix walking around in your underwear, causing a scene, and what's that going to do? I guess you feel proud about it, right? Because you're the one that went in there dressed in your underwear. You chose to do that because in your mind you're like, wow, I look great. I'm really proud of myself. So I'm going to walk up in this grocery store with basically nothing on, underwear and on a bra in this scenario, or a guy, right? Just some, I don't know, some high cut underwear, no shirt, just glistened up with oil, just walking around grabbing groceries. I don't know. But yeah, you're just walking around, you're proud, right? It's a sin. It's one of the seven deadlies, right? There's a way to offset it. It's called humility. But you're proud. So you're walking around, getting your groceries, you're proud. But the problem is, what you're doing is you're creating lust in other people. Because other people might look at your body that you're so proud of, and they might get lustful. So you're literally causing someone else to sin. So that's the problem. You're creating a lust in other people with your pride for your body and your decision to dress, how you chose to dress. And I know it's strange because in right in America, the country I live in, like that's normal. In any beach, I don't know, I haven't been all over the world yet, but I would assume in any beach it's totally normal to do that. But the fact that you're standing on sand doesn't really change the fact that you're out in public, right? I mean, you could walk into Walmart and you could throw some sand on the ground and you could step on the sand and then you could rip your clothes off and stand in Walmart in your underwear. But what's going to happen is you're going to cause a scene. Because, I mean, you were so proud of yourself, you decided to just rip your clothes off in Walmart, and now you're creating lust in other people, and you're probably going to make some people envious. If they look at your body and they're like, wow, I like that, I'm lustful, they'll be envious of you, the shape you're in, your looks, whatever. Yeah, so that's the problem. And it took me a while to put that all together. I mean, I knew when I went to the beach, when I went to the beach, it was problematic, right? Because I would look around and there would be some girl wearing nothing and she's bending over getting seashells or just walking in front of you, whatever. And your eyes are open, you see the world. So you see it and you start to glance over, you realize what it is, and boom, you redirect your eyes down to the ground or somewhere. But where am I supposed to redirect my eyes? I'm at the beach. All I do is redirect my eyes. I'm constantly playing this bobblehead game where I'm just moving my eyes all over the place because there's nowhere to look. Because all the males and females honestly are dressed, inappropriately. They're not dressed modestly at all. There's not much humility there. And you're at the beach, so maybe that's why. Maybe that's kind of where, prideful people go. Like I said, I know this is strange. I know it sounds odd. I grew up here just like you did. So it's strange for me. I'm just now figuring out, just today, for whatever reason, it finally, set in what was bothering me. And I finally, started to put two and two together, oh, hold on, this is normal. I've lived in Jacksonville Beach my whole life. I've been around the beach my whole life. I know how people dress at the beach. I do the same thing. I go down there, I rip my shirt off, I have my shorts on, and I go out. And, some people might say, for a guy, well, that's not that big of a deal. Why? I mean, you still have, pecs or whatever. So you still have your cut abs, whatever the case may be, right? You're still going to create, you're still proud of yourself if you're doing it. Some people are. And you're also going to create lust in other people, right? If a girl looks at you and she's like, wow, I like the way that guy looks. You're creating lust in that other person. So your sin was pride, but the problem is you're creating a lust in another person. So you're causing someone else to sin. By you being out there all bare-chested or tight-pantsed or whatever, tight-fitting clothing. And I know this one's going to be a tough one. I know that people are going to look at this this guy's nuts. Who is this? He's like the fun police. He doesn't want us to have any fun. No cigarettes, no booze, no twirling guns around, no nothing, no tight-fitting clothing. And it goes even further than that, but it goes back to this short little cheat sheet behind me here. It's humility. We're supposed to humble ourselves before God. All of us. Me, you, all of us, right? And, pride is a sin. And chances are you're out there proud, which is why you're wearing very tight-fitting clothing, very high-cut, cleavage showing, buttocks probably showing. Not much being hidden, to be quite honest. Everything's showing. I don't really think anything's hidden out there. Because, like I said, I try to redirect as soon as I notice it, but it's tough to even go to the beach. That's what everyone wears. And I know it's culturally normal. I get that. I've lived here. So it's culturally normal, but it's, in the eyes of God, that's a no-no. And it took me a while to figure that out. So it's weird. So I figured I would come here and let you know. And I know this is going to be hated by so many people. It's going to say, this guy's nuts. What's he talking about? I can't go to the beach, and I can't wear tight-fitting clothing. I can't wear skirts and stuff like that. I'm just telling you it's a sin. And if you want to be a Christian and you want to be right with God, you've got to lose the pride. You got to be humble, right? And you can't create lust in other people. So Yeah. So you're causing someone else to sin by you dressing. I'm happy that you go to the gym and you're feeling good and you're eating right and staying healthy. That's all great. It's fine. But at a point, it turns into pride, and we're supposed to be humble before God. All of us, me, you, all of us, right? And I definitely need to work on this one. I've got some pride, I guess, pride issues in my life too, right? Clothing, and this goes so much further than just dress at the beach. It really spills over into a lot of things, but I'll try to keep it focused just for now. Like I said, you're creating lust, and you're also creating envy in other people. They might be envious of your body, envious of what you have, things like that, and that goes more into like possessions and things of that nature. But let me pull this up here. Okay, so here we go. This is 1 Timothy chapter 2. And I want to be careful with this because, like I said, I read the Bible almost every night. Not every single night, but almost every night. I think it's wonderful for obvious reasons. Christ should like the Bible, I think. But unfortunately, there's good and bad, right? There's good, bad, and ugly in the Bible. I'm not a literalist. I don't read every line in here and be like, that's absolutely true. Because of who I am, I have no choice but to be like that. It's my job to scrutinize this. That's why I'm here. So, I look at this. There's lots of concepts, right, that aren't in here. There's nothing in here about reincarnation. Hello. How you doing? So, there's lots of... I love the Bible. I read the Bible. But I'm not a literalist, with every single line that's in here. And I'll be honest about that. And I guarantee you that if you were to read the Bible, and I don't know how many of you do, you should. There's great information there, great stories, and it's fantastic. The Word of God is in there, but you have to have discernment too. So I'm reading this, and I make decisions on that. But you can see this, right, from verse 8, right? Therefore I want the men everywhere to pray, lifting up holy hands without anger or disputing. That sounds great. I should have highlighted that in yellow. That's good to go. I also want women to dress modestly, with decency and propriety, adorning themselves not with elaborate hairstyles or gold or pearls or expensive clothes, but with good deeds, appropriate for women who profess to worship God. I don't want to get into the exact particulars there, like on pearls and gold. I hate gold. I always have. Well, now I know why. But yeah, gold and pearls, and that goes more back to like possessions, right? Fancy possessions, things like that. I'll try to keep it on clothing for now, which we'll go with like bikinis, thongs, things like that. Things that I'm seeing at the beach when I walk around. But yeah, and I found that, right? You go to Bible Gateway, you pop it in, modesty, and this is what you get. So we're supposed to be modest and humble, in front of God. And what I'm seeing at the beach when I walk around, that's not humility. There's nothing humble about it. It's prideful. I know it's cultural. I know this is going to be so weird. No one's going to want to hear this. Any girl that goes to the beach, you're not going to want to hear this. Any guy that goes to the beach, right? You get the shirt off, you're walking around, you're feeling good. Nobody wants to hear this. And I get it. God's been beating me down, right? Trinity. It's how it works, right? I follow the same rules you do, or should, right? The same rules I'm supposed to be following, you're supposed to be following. But I get beaten down on this too, right? In ways that I dress, especially early on in the whole process. But even to this day, some things, too flashy of clothing, jewelry, lots of gold, diamonds, luxury items. But we'll keep it with the bikinis for now. So yeah, but here's the problem I have with the Bible, and this is where I want to be careful, right? I could read you that scripture, but then I could jump down one more line, right, to 11. And here's the bad. A woman should learn in quietness and full submission. No. Wait, I hate the way that's written, and I can already tell, like, a guy's going to read that and be like, oh, I know what that means. She's subservient to me. That's not the case. I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet. Absolutely not. I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement. And because of who I am, it's my job to call it out. That's why I don't read the Bible and go, oh, it's written in the Bible, 100% true. I'm in a weird and unique position to read this and interpret it. So I absolutely don't agree with that. For Adam was formed first, then Eve. Basically saying that, or, oh my gosh, I don't know. Basically presenting it as if Adam was more important. So Adam was born first, right? And then Eve. She was like an afterthought, right? And Adam was not the one who deceived. It was the woman who deceived and became a sinner. So what it's saying is like Adam wouldn't have done anything wrong with the woman deceived him. That's putting her in a precarious position, right? It's making it seem like the woman is like evil or she's the schemer, things like that. But women will be saved through childbearing if they continue in faith, love, and holiness with propriety. Okay. Yeah, that makes it, once again, it makes it seem like the woman did something evil and that childbirth is like repentance or something. Like you're going to go through pain just because of that. So I don't subscribe to any of that stuff. Adam and Eve, sure. But men and women are equal, right? In God's eyes, they're equal. So men can do bad things, women can do bad things, and I'm sure all of us have at some point in our life. And when you want to get really technical with it, and we start talking about things like pride and lust and envy, we're all guilty. We're all guilty, and we could all do better, right? It includes me, it's you. I guarantee you we all have issues with that little cheat sheet up there. I would almost guarantee it. But that's what I mean. So, yeah, we're supposed to be modest and humble and walking around in what essentially is your underwear and a bra, showing all that skin. There's nothing humble about that. There's nothing modest about that. I know culturally that is normal, and this is not going to be received well. I assure you. People are going to look at this and be like, this is nuts. Yeah, I'm not living like this. This guy's crazy. He wants us to walk around like baggy clothes and stuff. I'm sorry. It's a sin. It is. Your pride is a sin, that you're so in love with yourself that you want to go out and dress like that. And I'm not harping on you. I've done it. Right? I've done it. I'm just explaining. Right? And you're causing others to lust. And you're also going to make other people envious. So when you dress modestly and you're not showing a lot of skin, your cleavage isn't showing. I don't want to get into exact details of how many inches and stuff like that. Look, it's modest dress. You can Google it. I'm sure there's like modest bikinis out there, things like that. And, over time, I think those trends are I think there'll be a lot more sales in that area. There should be. If we're trying to, walk with God, I would think that we, including myself, would want to adhere to trying to not sin, right? By taking a short list and focusing on those big items, right? But we want to walk with God. And I'm telling you because I know when I walk around what my body does. Like I said, it's not an accident. I don't have any tattoos. I've never wanted them. I've never had them. I've never even had an inkling to get a tattoo. Not even when I was drinking. Never knew why. I know now. I've had piercings. I've had my ears pierced. I don't know if you can see that. Took them out many years ago, right? It was, going through my rebellious stage as a kid, drinking, being stupid. But, yeah, I have no interest in having any kind of like piercings in my body or anything like that. I like to keep it clean and humble. Like, it's a way of life, I guess. There's some things I'm going to have to work on, the type of clothing I wear and things like that. And, branding and stuff like that. So I'll have to work on that. Because I don't want to be proud, right? I don't want to upset God. And I don't want to be setting a bad example either for other people. So I want to make sure I'm getting these things right. But, yeah, I know because when I walk around, instinctively, when I look up and I see someone wearing almost nothing and they're just, waltzing all over the place in front of people, I instinctively look away. Because I guess I know it's wrong. And I didn't put it all together until today. I don't know. It didn't all come together. It's bothered me before, but I never actually took the time to think about it. I'd be like, why? Why does that bother me? Oh, because if I know that if I look at it longer than 1/8 of a second, just long enough to notice it, if I look any longer than that, it could create lust in me, right? Their pride and their choice to wear that could create lust in me. And it could create lust in other women or men that look upon you and be like, wow, I wish I had that body. So you're creating envy in other people. So by you dressing modestly, you're going to protect other people from sinning inadvertently. They may not even know that they're doing it. It may be unintentional on your part. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's unintentional. You weren't thinking about it, right? This is a strange way to think. But, you know, I'm here. So I broke in, trying to help you fix this place because, like I said, it's a fallen world. And I don't know if you've taken the time to appreciate what that actually means, but it's not good. It's bad. And, you know, that's why I'm here. And I want to help. And I'm figuring things out. And I'm going to share those things with you. But, you know, I'm here. So I want to live in a place that's as close to heaven as possible. I would love that. This place, for me, is very, very rough to live in. So I want to get this place as close to heaven as possible. And to do that, you know, we would have to adhere to some standards, right? Because I assure you, if there's, you know, a beach in heaven, there's no one waltzing around in underwear and a bra, you know, because sin matters, right? And people in a heavenly realm would know that, so they wouldn't be dressed like that because it would cause problems for other people, and they would also have to check themselves to see if they're being proud, right? Are they being proud? Or are they showing humility? Are they being humble? You know, are they being modest? And if you look at a thong, there's nothing modest or humble about it. I know that culturally it's okay, especially here in America, right? I live in the United States. I live in one of the most proud countries in the world, and that's a sin. So my country sins a lot, you know? Let's America, let's see. Pride, 100%. Yeah, very proud. Humility, not much. Watch the news, watch the politicians. Where's the humility? Where's the humbleness? Where's the modesty? Let me know when you find it. Greed, 100%. I would say one of the greediest countries in the world. Charity, I'm sure we do a lot of it, but I'm telling you, I live here. I know the greed here is horrible. I've been greedy in my life because I was living by American principles. I was like, I'm worried about my 401k. I'm worried about my money, my bank account. I'm worried about my job. I want to make sure I got nice stuff. I want to make sure I retire nice and I can go on all these vacations. So I understand this, right? That's the reason this played out the way it did. There's no way I could just show up having not have lived your experience exactly how you live it. I need you to screw up just like we all do. Lust in America? Yeah, lust is bad. Look at fashion. Look at the way people dress. Look at the musicians. Look at the famous people. Look how they dress. They wear almost nothing, like form-fitting clothing, all kinds of bling, chains, watches. I know, right? I hear you. I see the watch too. So I already bought it. I mean, yeah, like I said, I got work to do too. But the lavish necklaces, the rings, the huge houses, the big expensive cars, all of that. You're creating envy in other people and you're creating pride in yourself. So lust, absolutely. Envy, 100%. We actually stoke it over here. Because in America, that's kind of how you're valued, right? If you want to know if you're doing well, people basically want to see like your 401k statement. They want to see your asset list. They want to know like how big is your house? How many car garages do you have? What kind of cars are they? Are they paid off? Do you owe them to the bank? How much jewelry do you have? That's how you're judged in America. Not all, but a lot of people in America, that's how you determine if you've made it, right? If you're doing okay, it's because you have lots of stuff and things. And you're pretty, you know, it's very pride-based on your assets and your personal assets, your person. That's how it is over here. So, unfortunately, for whatever reason, decided to be born in America where we've got a problem with basically all of these. But maybe that's good. Maybe I'm in the right spot. Indulgence. Lots of it. I fell victim to this. I know a lot of people do, and we need a lot more services to help people out because there's a lot of people out there hooked on. I know the media loves to talk about fentanyl, right? Because they want to, I don't know, probably tie it back to the border crisis. And, you know, obviously we need to look at that. We need to be careful with the border and make sure the people that are coming in, you know, are vetted in some way. But we need to fix the process and make it easier too. But indulgence, right? How do you offset it? Sobriety. There's a lot of sobriety issues in this country. A lot. And we need more services, we need more people, social workers, things of that nature, addiction counselors, all of that to help them. Because you can't just sit around and cry about the water and not do anything to fix the issue with the people that already have the problem, right? I know a small majority would probably maybe not want help no matter what, right? Even if you gave them the services for free, maybe a small portion would be like, I don't want the services. I love getting drunk. I love destroying my body, my liver, my kidneys, and I just want to kill myself. So I'm going to do it with alcohol slowly. You might have some of those people out there. So I don't know, maybe that small percentage, we try to help. Maybe you can't help every single person, but I bet you can help most of them. So we would need to do that because sobriety is a huge issue and it needs to be fixed. So we need to help people out, give them the resources, get the funding, get the budget, whatever it takes to fix it. Because if you fix the indulgence issue, you don't have to worry about the border. You don't have to worry about anyone selling drugs. All you have to do is stop doing the drugs, right? Because if you destroy the market, if no one's buying drugs and alcohol and cigarettes and weed and everything else, right? All those things that the government makes money on, right? The government makes money on alcohol and tobacco and guns and drugs, all of that, all the legal drugs, right? They make money on all of it. So, they really don't want you to stop consuming those things because they're going to take a huge pay cut, right? Their budget's going to go down because they're not going to get all the money from those little sin drugs, sin items. But yeah, they make money off of it. The companies make money off of it. But if you want to stop those things tomorrow, all you have to do is stop doing the drugs. And the drug trade will stop. It will dwindle down to nothing. There will be no reason to be in the drug business, at least sending it to Americans, because you'll have stopped being their best customer. So if you want to stop the drug trade, get clean. Get sober. Right? Getting sober, you're stopping the drug and alcohol trade. Don't smoke, don't do cigarettes, no weed, nothing. Keep your lungs nice and clean, right? You want to last a long time so you can do a lot of good deeds. You want to keep your body in good shape so you can volunteer a lot and you can help people. That should be your goal. So this is a huge issue. Wrath, yeah, anger, wrath, Everyone gets mad from time to time. Wrath is definitely a step up. How do you offset it? With patience. But I've seen wrath, right? Especially like if you want to think about the political realm, right? Politics. Have we all not seen some wrath when it comes to politics? I would say recently, but it's all the time, right? Certain presidents that we've had in the past on whatever side of the aisle you want to talk about, there's been wrath against that person and hate and vitriol. That's the way we operate, look at how the country was formed. We're kind of a rambunctious group. But yeah, we have wrath issues for sure. Sloth, yeah, you're always going to have that in any society. Some people probably be like, look at this guy. He's calling himself Christ. He doesn't even have a job. I have a job. I'm trying to fix the entire planet. I'm trying to fix the planet. I'm trying to save the animals. I'm trying to save you, your bodies. I'm trying to save your souls. So I've got a lot going on right now. I'm not going to sit around and cry about it. But apparently, however that works, I don't guess I'm supposed to really have any assets or any money or anything. That's just, those are the signals that I'm getting. That's kind of the way things are playing out. And that's okay. If that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. But I am working, obviously. I'm trying to share information with you. I have access to resources that a lot of people don't, at least not in this exact way. So I am trying to help. I'm trying to fix this place because I don't want to live in a fallen world. I have no interest in it. I see how this place is now, and I won't say I hate it, but I strongly dislike it, and I don't want to live in it. So I'm trying to help you, trying to help all of us, me too, right? I want us to live in a world that is as close to heaven as possible, right? That we'll get this place as divine as we can. But to do that, we're going to have principles, that we work towards. And we're going to have to get sin out of our lives. And like I said, I live in a country that violates every one of those every day. Pride, greed, lust, envy, indulgence, wrath, and sloth. All of them. Some more than others, but it's one of the most proud countries in the world. It's one of the biggest sins we have. And envy, right? Everything here is money, right? People say, "Oh, you've made it," when they can see it. When they see your fancy cars and your jewelry and watches and clothing and all of that, all your money, that's how you know you've made it in America. And I definitely need to do more traveling around the world just to see like how America compares to some of the other countries, and I will be. I've got some mission trips coming up, so I'll be out in Guatemala. I'm gonna go out to I think Kenya later on. That'll be good to get some perspective. Where else was it? Guatemala, Kenya. I think Jamaica. I think Jamaica's one of them. So those are the only three I have queued up right now. That's probably all I can afford currently. With my finances, my 401k's dwindled down. I had to cash it out to do this. So, which is good. This is exactly what I should be doing, and apparently this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. But, finance-wise, I am limited. So, but my fiance, she's going to try to get a job. She is going to get a job. So she'll get a job. She might have to bankroll me for some of this stuff. So that'll be a nice little role reversal there. But it'll be good, and that's just how it has to be done. So I'll get out to as many places as I can, once I figure out the funding on that. But I do have some cool mission trips coming up, so that's going to be nice. Because I need perspective, right? I grew up in this country, one of the most proud countries in the world, and it's a sin, And once you start to try to avoid those, you're going to realize what it's like to be holy, or what it's like to try to walk that path. It's not easy. It's absolutely not easy, and it's counter to the culture that I grew up in. And it's not just Americans, right? I'm sure a lot of Western countries are the same thing, right? They value wealth, they value looks and power and things like that. But God doesn't. We're supposed to be humble, and we're supposed to be modest. All right, here's one on humble. Let me pull this up. Yeah, humble. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will lift you up. It's James 4:10. There's quite a few others, right? How many? 25? Yeah, 73 results, right? On humble. And I'm not going to go through every single one. You can go look them up if you want. But yeah, we're supposed to be humble, and that's not something that you'll ever see pushed in America. Maybe at church on Sundays, but keep in mind that'll be depending on what church you go to, it could be a very large church, a very beautiful church with an atrium and volleyball courts and tennis courts, and they got their own school attached, and a multi-million-dollar complex with a sound and music system like you're going to a professional concert. So yeah, even the church has some work to do there. Living with modesty and living with humility, that's different. When you walk like that, you're going to be different. People know you're set apart because it's nothing like the culture in this world. It's completely counter to the culture here. So it'll be obvious, right, that you're a Christ follower and that you're a Christian, and you want to live for God, right? You want to live for God, and you want to live with godly principles. It'll be obvious because of how you dress and how you look and how you operate and what you value and what you're into. There'll be no way to mistake it. But to do that, you have to get away from your pride. You have to be humble. You have to show humility and be modest. You can't create lust in other people. You can't create envy in other people. And it might not seem fair. You're like, oh, that's not fair. Why should I be held responsible for someone else's envy? Well, they're envious because of your pride in the way you chose to live, and the fact that you're not modest and you're being very showy and ostentatious or whatever. So yeah, you're causing it. So you're doing them a service by being modest and living with humility. And that's what God wants of us. That's why when I go to the beach, it's very hard to even walk around now, because everywhere it's it looks like a Girls Gone Wild show. It looks like Girls Gone Wild, right? And people are getting ready to jump on the bus and sign the waivers. I've never watched it, but I've heard about it. So yeah, that's what it looks like. And it's so weird because even for the majority of my life, I had no issues with it. I wouldn't have even noticed that I had my blinders on. I wouldn't have known. In fact, I probably would have been looking for it, right? You see some girl dressed like that, you're like, oh, great. This is fantastic. Nice work. Ooh, and you're making stupid comments, right? And in your mind, you're lusting, whether you think of it or not. Maybe you're being envious if it's someone of the same sex, and you're like, oh man, I wish I had those muscles, or I wish I had that ripped abs. You're getting envious. So it's different. It's nothing like the culture here. And why would it be, right? Why would a heavenly realm be anything like a fallen world? They wouldn't. That's what you have to realize. That's why these principles, right? These sins that we're committing, that's why they're so normal and natural here, because of where we live currently. It can be changed, and we're going to have to change it. Because if you want to be a Christian and you want to walk with God and live by godly principles, that's a big portion of how you do it right there. Very small. You could fold that up and put it in your back pocket. You can take it with you. You don't need a couple thousand pages. Definitely read the Bible. I do every night. Just be careful, because there's some rough stuff in there. Yeah, those we talked about. I got those on the wall. Makes it easier. But yeah, like I said, you just got to be careful, right? Situations like this, right? This, I think, is gold, right? I got no problem with this. This is all good. Perfect. Right? I want men everywhere, men and women, everywhere to pray, lifting up holy hands without anger or disputing. That's the game plan. We get to the point where we don't need, all the soldiers and wars and everything else. We're not there, right? We're just kind of starting this journey. We're walking the path now. But ideally, that's where we get to, where everyone gets along and no one has to fight each other and, be aggressive with people, things like that. And I also want women to dress modestly with decency and propriety, adorning themselves not with elaborate hairstyles or gold or pearls or expensive clothes, but with good deeds. And that applies to men too, right? You can't be walking around with a Mr. T starter kit. This is not just for women. This is for men too, right? Anything outlandish, haughty jewelry, things like that, expensive goods, that's not humble. That's not modest. And like I said, I'll call myself out. I'm sure someone's going to mention, this guy's got a iWatch. Yeah, I bought this before when I was living like this place, when I was living with these principles. So it's difficult. It's a difficult path to walk. But then you get down to the very next line, right? You're like, oh, that's great. I love that. Yeah, but if you do that, then someone's just going to point out scripture. Someone who's, let's say it's a guy who thinks he's better than a woman's going to go, yeah, but look at this. Look at verse 11. A woman should learn in quietness and full submission. Well, what kind of picture is that painting, right? I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet. What? No. What kind of message are you sending with that? That is terrible. And granted, it's been 2,000 years. I don't know which book, Timothy, 2,000 to 4,000 years, depending on the book that you choose. But no, that's why it's my job. I go in here and I pick and choose the parts that I like and the parts that I don't like. And trust me, there are some things in here that are absolutely missing 100%. And, that's incorrect also. So I'll figure it out as I go along. But, yeah, this is going to be difficult. And, I have things to change and you have things to change if you want to live with godly principles. It's up to you. But, when you walk with God, you'll be taken care of after you pass on. Hopefully you'll have a nice life, but I'm not going to say that you're going to be rich. You're going to have, 4 cars and a big house, because God doesn't care about that. God isn't here for your 401k. God doesn't care about your money. God probably cares how you use your money. If you use your money to help other people, help the planet, help the animals, help other beings, help God's creations, live in harmony with God's creations. God cares about that. But as far as your comfort and, if you can have like a 10,000 square foot home or whatever, depending on your region, right? God doesn't care about that. And that kind of excess is not a godly principle. There's nothing humble about it. There's no humility. There's no modesty. And trust me, this message will probably be hated by Americans, because this is completely counter to everything my country tells me to think. They tell me that I should be shooting for prosperity, financial prosperity, every single day, out there fighting, right? Go get the money. Go to college so you can get a nice job. Why do you want the nice job? So you can get the money. You got to get money. You got to get nice things. You got to boost the economy. You got to boost the GDP. Oh my gosh, if we don't boost the GDP, your 401k, the stock market's going to go down. Your 401k is not going to be great. You're not going to retire with millions in the bank. God doesn't care about your money, right? He doesn't care about your 401k. He cares about sin, right? He cares about greed and pride. So you should be worried about those. But you can't judge if you're worried about God or you're worried about yourself. Those are two different things, right? But if you want to walk in a godly way, you can't do it by walking around with tons of fancy possessions, which you're going to leave here anyway, right? When these bodies give out, we're not taking anything with us. There's no U-Haul that you're going to take with you. So you'll be leaving it here anyway. But you want to protect yourself for the future, for the next leg of your journey. You want to protect yourself for that. So you want to live with godly principles, right? So try to be humble, right? Be charitable, have chastity, don't lust. Show kindness, sobriety, wonderful, patience, and diligence. That's it. But to circle back on the clothing, like I said, I know this is going to sound nuts to a lot of people. This guy's telling me I can't wear my thong to the beach. I'm allowed to wear a thong. You are. You're allowed to wear it. But you're showing your pride, you're creating envy, and you're creating lust in other people. And those are sins. So if you claim to be a Christian or you claim to follow God and want to live by godly principles, if that's true, you wouldn't be doing that. And the same thing with a guy, right? I wouldn't be out there all pumped up, glistening with oil, like, just did a couple push-ups in the parking lot so I could walk around the beach, like HR Puff and stuff. You wouldn't be doing that, right? Because that's pride. You're being prideful. So this applies to men and women. Obviously it hit me because I'm a man, and I would see the women obviously normally, and I would catch myself, right? I would start to go over, then boom, you redirect your eyes. But it's everywhere. It's all of them. Oh, and here's one of the biggest things. I almost forgot this. I'm glad I thought about it. One of the worst things when I was walking around, it wasn't, it's not just the females, right? Number one, it's males and females. But it's not just the females that I was seeing. Because those females were older females, the ones that I'm talking of. But guess what? Those older females haven't been, 20, 30, 40, whatever, for their whole lives, right? They were kids. And because it's okay culturally, these women are out there with their young girls wearing essentially just underwear, right? Things that you wouldn't feel appropriate walking through Walmart. If you wouldn't wear it through Walmart, why is it okay to wear it on the beach? Because you're both in public, right? If there's nothing wrong with it, then by all means, it won't be biblical and it definitely won't be right with God, but go ahead and just get in your underwear and just start walking around Walmart like it's nothing. And you know what's going to happen? People are going to be staring at you and making comments. And, clearly you're proud of yourself to do it. And you're definitely going to be creating lust in other people. And you're going to be creating envy possibly in other people, of the same sex that think that, I wish I had that body, or, what I wish I was, I don't know. I wish I had the wherewithal to do it, I guess. I don't know. But you're going to be creating sin. You're already sinning with your pride, and then you're going to create lust in other people. So if it's not okay to do in Walmart or any other grocery store, I don't want to pick on them, right? Any store, right? Go to Academy, go wherever you want. You wouldn't do it there because it's not normal to walk around in your underwear. But you do it at the beach because culturally it's okay, just because we've done it for a long time. And not only that, you get your kids to do it. There are young girls out there wearing basically almost nothing, right? Little kids walking around on the beach. I don't want to go there or anything, but guess what? If there are any pedos in this world, and I'm sure they're out there, where do you think they are? I bet you they're at the beach. That's exactly where they are. They're out there walking around, hunting, whatever term you want to use for it, and your kids are out there wearing almost nothing, walking around. And I will guarantee you, if there's a pedo within 100 miles, they're at the beach. They're out there looking for kids, women, whatever, out there just gawking. Why wouldn't you be? You're not going to get that kind of action at Target or Publix or anywhere else, right? So it took me a while to realize it. I never understood, why am I I knew why I was darting my eyes, right? Because I didn't want to lust and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's wrong, it's a sin. And it's because of our pride, which, I've got issues there too I need to work on, like, how I dress and things like that, and assets and things like that. And, like I said, the RV's about to get repoed. I stopped making payments on that. And the luxury vacations, what was it? The Wyndham or whatever. Worst program ever. Don't ever buy into that garbage. But I stopped paying on that. So that's going to go away. I mean, I will pay them because I owe them, right? I took the contract. I will pay them whenever I get the money. But because of my position, I don't know that I'll ever actually have money. So I may have to file bankruptcy on that. I'm not 100% sure. But it's in God's hands. I'll figure it out as time goes on. But yeah, I would say definitely look into more modest dress at the beach, due to pride and lust. Modesty goes a long way. And I think in America, at least, from the limited perspective I haven't traveled a whole lot. Modesty here is a gigantic issue, along with greed and lust and pretty much everything else on that list. In my country, it's a huge issue. But I'm just talking about the beach today. So, yeah. And I would highly recommend you not put your kids out there wearing essentially underwear running around out in public. It seems, it's not good. It's not a good thing. It seems, impure, I guess you would say. As far as like holy, I wouldn't put that in the holy column at all. And like I said, if there's any pedos in the area, I guarantee you they're at the beach. So probably not the best place to do it anyway. But, if you wouldn't do it at Publix or Target or Walmart, I don't know why you think it's okay to do it at the beach. And I know that people are going to hate this message. And you're going to sit back and be like, this is nuts. But if you think about it, because of my unique position, I have a unique relationship, and I'm here to spread the information. So I'm here to let you know. So trying to protect you from sin so that the next leg of your journey is very positive and beautiful. And I care about you, so I'm going to tell you, even though you don't want to hear it. Even though you don't want to hear this, I'm going to tell you anyway, because you need to hear it. Just like I needed to hear it, right? I need to be woken up and hear it, and I have. So I wanted to relay that. Sorry I rambled on this one, but it's kind of a weird topic. And so that's it. So at the end of the day, I live in a country where every single one of these is a huge issue. But at least as it relates to the beach and scantily clad people running around, pride. So definitely use humility. Be humble, be modest. Lust, you're absolutely creating lust in other people by dressing like that and waltzing all over the place and bending over and picking up shells and whatever else it is you're doing. Envy, yeah. So, be kind to people, but you're definitely creating envy in other people. Just because, like I said, you might be at the gym, you might be doing everything right, nutritionally, you're great, that's all fantastic. But unfortunately, you're probably causing envy in other people. So if you were to wear clothes that maybe weren't as tight fitting, a little more loose fitting, right? A little more modest, you probably wouldn't create those feelings in other people. And I know some people are like, well, you can't tell me how to dress. I don't want the nanny state. Don't tell me how to dress. Hey, I'm just telling you what God expects because of information that I'm getting. And so I'm relaying that to you. I'm trying to help you out. And I know that you might see it as a personal infringement on your personal rights. I'm just trying to show you what God is expecting of all of us. All right? And I'm sorry if that disagrees with the current culture, the way that you grew up, or your personal freedoms and what you feel you should be allowed to do. So sorry if you don't like the information, but don't shoot the messenger. That's it. So God loves you, and I hope you have a great week. All right, see ya.